Someone had posted it on Facebook. It was Swedish, of course, and it was like, one event, $250,000 prize fund, like over 1 million people watching, 18 on-air commentators considered, the best in their field, all men. It was and it's really weird. Like, I mean, first of all, when you're dealing with Henry, that label is so fucking loose, guys like that.
He's a pretty boy. Let's be real here.
But honestly, it was like one of those things. Like, it's not conscious. Like, just in case anyone thinks it is, I don't know if you think. Like, we definitely don't sit in a smoky room, like backstage with cigars and brandy.
You don't have the old boys club going on.
Yeah, we don't. We legit don't. We don't sit there. So Red Eye, it's wonderful, isn't it? That there's no women allowed in our illustrious club, isn't it? Like, it definitely doesn't happen like that at all, and that's what people say. And I've been very vocal about, like, I held that picture of you up at Columbus.
Oh, and then all the negative.
Yeah, and then I got fucked for that, and it was like, that was crazy. Yeah, and I think, again, a large part of that is down to the collective jealousy, right? Like, oh, hey, I'm Global Offensive, and I don't get to do any of this shit. So it's like everyone wants the little fucking you're special. Yeah, you're special. You're you're validated. And when people don't get that, like, they get super bitter about anyone who they feel isn't doing as good a job as they themselves in their own mind could do. It's literally like, I've done it. I've been a moron. Right. I've literally sat there and watched a professional football player or soccer player, as I need to say now in America.
You don't need to.
I'm gonna have to. I'm American now. But I've sat there and watched it and gone, I could do fucking better than that. And of course I couldn't, right? Like, just the idea of me huffing and puffing around a park with a fucking pint in one hand and half a pork pie in the other, trying to play football it's bollocks, isn't it? But I've done it, and I've said it, and I meant it at the fucking time, and I'm talking out my ass,
A lot of people are these kind of like backseat analysis, right? They sit there and they make these assumptions, and some people are very, very accurate. Some people have a real mental capacity to sit there and go, actually, that was a dog shit play, and I can't do better myself, but it was, and I can tell you why. But the one thing that a lot of people don't seem to understand is what sort of level these pro players play on. You could be global, you could do really well on Face It, ESCA, whatever you want, and you are still nowhere near these guys. Like, I've played against, I think it was Scream I played against on Face It, and you know what? It's not like they're a sentient being far away who just operates on this high god tier level. But you play them 1v1. You take these challenges with them. You just get punished for every piece of smallest mistake you make. And people even daring to say that they could do better than them just blows my mind. It just shows that they actually don't know what they're talking about most of the time.
So when you were playing in Call of Duty, which was a very interesting community, I always
interesting's a nice word.
Yeah, no, but I loved it. I thought it was one of the best. It was the most fun I ever had going to events or whatever was when I was covering Call of Duty events. But what were they like? Because everyone seemed to be accepting. I never heard anything about you that was disparaging. I hear worse things about you now in Counter-Strike as a commentator than I did as a player in Call of Duty.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, at the time, COD 4 was a weird bunch of people, let's be honest, but an incredibly weird bunch of people who were fantastic. Like, because it was such a social atmosphere, though, because it was always, let's say, the same 10, 20 teams going to events, mixing a few, whoever there and there in between. But you'd always just go out and get drunk together, right? So everyone was basically just incredibly good friends, whether it be Duffer doing something ridiculous, you stealing someone's shoes, waking up in a cabin somewhere in AEF.
Jeez, that was bad.
That was bad.
I've still got those shoes.
Those red shoes.
I've still got those red shoes. What was the name of the dude who
Leo.
Leonidas. Yeah, Leonidas. Yeah, good guy.
Toxic.
I've still got your shoes, brother. Tell him. Let him know.
When I first got into casting, I didn't expect to be in front of fucking stadiums. I didn't expect to be in front of this sort of thing. I like talking about video games. I like video games. I'm a sweaty little nerd, let's be honest. I'm not exactly like most girls who go in front of camera. I'm not the belle of the ball in that aspect. There's a lot of better people out there for that.
You've got that one guy who thinks...
Oh, he's going to fucking wear my skin, Richard. It's a different thing. You know what I mean? They put the fucking lotion in the basket. But outside of that, I do want to move away from that.